After watching dozens of videos about Google Maps scrapers, I kept seeing the same thing. Everyone talks about scraping thousands of places, collecting email addresses, and boosting productivity. But few talk about real problems. No real scalability, scraping tied to your IP address, limited filters, steep learning curves. Maybe it's time to dig deeper. Let's go beyond basic info. Let's talk about the data that really matters. The kind of data that helps you segment, personalize, and enrich your database.
Today we're comparing two tools, Openmart and Scrap.io. How do they work? What kind of data can you actually extract? Which one is the best scraper? Hi, I'm François, and today we're diving into Openmart and Scrap.io. Let's start with the basics. What are Openmart and Scrap.io? I won't bore you with a never-ended generic description. What's more interesting is this. What do their landing pages tell us? Let's compare both titles, shall we? For Openmart, we can read Local Business Data Intelligence Platform, and on Scrap.io, Google Maps Leads Generator. At first glance, they sound identical. After all, local business data is basically Google Maps data, right? Now let's dig deeper. Openmart also says, want to know everything about local businesses? Openmart AI Sales Intelligence Agents have you covered. Scrap.io also says, turn Google Maps into a leads machine. Try for free for 7 days and cancel anytime. Interesting. Openmart seems to highlight the use of AI to qualify leads, whereas Scrap.io focuses on ease of use and scalability. I could go on, but let's be real. A demo will speak louder than 1,000 words. Now, let's jump into the tutorial. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to compare both tools. As usual, let's start with the basics, meaning how to do a Google Maps search. So on Openmart, the interface looks like this. We have 3 main tabs: Google Maps Search, AI Leads Finder, and Shopify Store. On Scrap.io, each request is divided into 5 parts, actually more into 2 parts. First, we have the Google Maps category, and it does make sense because each time a company registers itself, it has a choice among 4,000 different Google Maps categories. And once we have picked up a category, we can select the country, the level 1 division, the level 2 division, and the city. Level 1 division represents the state, and level 2 division represents the country, in case you asked. And we have just called them this way because depending on the country you choose, obviously the level 1 and level 2 division will have a different meaning. We can even scrape Liechtenstein. Okay, let's make a basic Google Maps search. Here we have access to some suggestions, but it's not necessarily a good idea. So let's go for restaurant and let's take a look at the advanced search. So, business website status, has a website, has no website, or all. Location, search by city. Let's go for Nashville, Tennessee, USA. We can specify zip code, the number of locations, the rating from 0 to 5, more like from 1 to 5, because you cannot give a 0-star rating, and the order platforms. We'll come back to that later. So let's click on search and see how it goes. We have access to 2,000 results. Let's do the same thing on Scrap.io. So we target restaurants, United States, and we target Nashville. And same thing as for Openmart, we have access to an estimate of the number of results we are about to retrieve. It's important to say that it's an estimate because once I click on export, Scrap.io, and I think it's the same thing for Openmart, is going to rescrape the data in order to make sure you have access to the most updated database possible. So at first glance, we might say that Scrap.io offers us a tiny bit less leads than Openmart, but is it really the case? I'm not sure, because if we take a deeper look at our database, we can see that not every lead is located in Nashville. We have a lot of leads which are completely out of topic. And as a matter of fact, I don't see how I can correct it. In other words, Openmart requests are not 100% reliable. Maybe it can change if we target the leads based on an entire state. If I search by state, does it change something? And we have around 7,000 results. I love my neighbors. Same problem as before, though. Not all leads are located in Tennessee. On scrap.io now we can scrape leads at the scale of a city, at the scale of a county, at the scale of a state, or at the scale of an entire country. As you can see, I've targeted restaurants in Tennessee in just a couple of clicks. And I can do the same thing for the entire United States. A quick word regarding the order platforms. It's a useful data field. We can use that data field to filter our database a bit further, but in reality only a few leads are actually using this column. What's next? We can also target new businesses. So same thing as before, but we just say, okay, I want to target leads from that date to that date. We can also do that on scrap.io, but not directly, meaning once you export your CSV or Excel file, you have a timestamp column which shows you when we have found that specific business. Now let's take a look at the second option, AI Leads Finder. So it's a similar thing as a map search. The only difference is that you are using AI to scrape leads, as its name suggests. So how does it work? Really simple. I can create a new search. I can say, okay, I target restaurants, business type filtering, focus only on restaurants, exclude coffee shop and hotels. Which location? Nashville, I said. Filter criteria, let's say annual revenue less than $5 million. Search on business website first. Let's keep it unchecked. I click on save and I click on search. Now we just need to wait. In the meantime, let's complete our request on scrap.io. Because something I've forgotten to tell you is that on scrap.io you have access to a very broad range of filters. It's divided between essential filters and advanced ones. And to be honest, here are much more filters than on Openmart. For example, I want to target restaurants as a main activity only, meaning no coffee shops, no hotels, no bars, just restaurants, closed permanently no, with, let's say, an email address, and with a rating from 3 to 5. If I click on filter, here is my very segmented database. Okay, let's come back to Openmart a minute. We have found 400 results. Okay, let's take a look at the first example. We have here the title, here's the Google Maps category, and here's the address, and here's the website. We have access to the tags. Probably these are the characteristics or the secondary categories, maybe, the description and the reasons. And here is a bit of a problem, is that the annual revenue is pretty hard to come by. Let's come back to scrap.io now. Once it's done, I can export my data. I give a name to my export, and within the advanced options, I can set up some settings if I want to. The columns to export, the exported lines limit, and the best part about it is that all the exports you have done so far are saved within the My Exports tabs, and for each and every one of your exports, you can download them in a CSV or Excel file, or if the export is older than 30 days, you can update them, meaning making the very same request with the very same filters in order to gather the newest businesses. Let's take a look at what we have. And let's try to do the same thing for Openmart. So for each lead, you have the choice to export them in the way that you transfer them from the general database to your list, to your leads list. And here is a good and the bad thing with Openmart. For example, you have access to company insights like the decision makers, that's super useful, but I've made a try with the decision maker email and I found nothing. It does make sense. Sometimes the info is just not available. But anyway, now let's export our list. Very short list, but let's export it nonetheless. I click on export. I click on export. I click on export. Is it not working? Well, for some reason, I really cannot export my lists. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but here are all the columns you can retrieve: company-related data and people-related data. Now let's compare it with Scrub.io, which we were able to export with the Google ID, the name, the description, the main type and all types, so the main category and all secondary categories, the website, phone number, time zone, full address, latitude, longitude, owner ID, place ID, email address, social media links, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn. First seen on, that's what we talked about. We have seen that Google Maps page the 28th of August. The price range, reviews IDs, reviews count, photos count, occupancy, working hours is claimed, characteristics, SEO related data, so if the company has got a website, of course. Then in addition we have access to the titles, the meta keywords, the meta description, the meta image, the meta generator, additional email addresses, contact pages. All contact pages are summarized within the all contact pages column. Same thing for social media links, and we end up with website technologies and website at Pixel. So that's quite a comprehensive data set. One last thing, please note that we have made a try with very small samples, but you can obviously make very large extraction if you want to. So here is an example, and here is another one. To conclude, I think I found out what seems to be Openmart's biggest weakness. It's an ambitious, promising scraper, no doubt about that, but many features are still in beta or feel confusing at first. Sure, the order platform data field is a gem, but it's a niche feature. The enriched data, helpful in theory, but hard to actually get. You can launch AI-based searches. Was it truly helpful, or just another flashy gimmick? On the other hand, Scrub.io delivers a smoother experience, at least I think. Clear data fields, tailored requests, a clean, easy-to-use interface. With Scrub.io, our goal is simple. We aim to achieve more with less. That doesn't mean we are out of ideas for future updates. Thanks to our dedicated dev team, we will keep you in the loop. On our public roadmap, you can see which features are being discussed, which have been approved, and which are coming soon. Scrub.io is not frozen in time, it's evolving. So if you want to be part of this evolution, always remember, click the link in the description to get your first 100 leads completely free. This is the end of the video. If you have enjoyed it, you can subscribe. There is nothing else to see. Bye!